Good morning, everybody. I'm Abdul Gabier. I want to welcome you to our learning network this morning. It is going to be an honor for us to host Abdul on this day of Eid, and Eid Mubarak to him and his family. And thank you, Abdul, for taking the time on the special day to share with us. About Civil Coffee Clutch, we are a learning network. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my screen to change. Right, we are a learning network of government officials, consultants, local government officials, and just people that are generally interested in any one of our subject matters. We talk about smart city or smart municipality. We cover cybersecurity, which we've done extensively in the first part of this year. We are today looking at artificial intelligence, and then later on this year, we're also going to look at technology audits. Our purpose is to apply what we learn from others to improve service delivery, optimize operations, and strengthen trust. And it's all about let's get local government to be more effective in what we do. Our subject area about today is artificial intelligence in Cape Winelands District Municipality, and the focus there is on improving operations through the use of artificial intelligence. Our mission is to lead from turmoil to service excellence, and we all know that that is a journey. Imagine the future. We need to get into a space where we talk about the future, where we talk about strategy. Just about every municipality that I get to, when you ask them if they sit down 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour outside the office, talk about strategy, the answer is no. We are all in firefighting mode. If we don't talk about strategy and about the future and what we want the future to look like, we are not pinning the peg in the ground and don't understand what it is that we are going to lead towards in the future. That being said, my bottom line here, those who blindly stare at and accept things as they are will never shape the future. And we need to get beyond ourselves as far as that concerned. About myself, I've got 38 years experience in IT governance in local government, national government, and provincial government. I was responsible for the development of the public service corporate governance of ICT policy framework, the municipal one, and as well as the revision of the 2025 framework for the Western Cape government. And for those of you who are online, that's going to SIGFARO. We're also presenting this at SIGFARO next week. I want to introduce Abdul. He is the Deputy Director ICT at the Cape Winelands District. He brings approximately 15 years of progressive IT leadership experience to his role as Deputy Director at Cape Winelands. In his position, he provides strategic leadership and translating departmental vision into executable programs, measurable objectives, and improved service delivery outcomes. His portfolio spans governance and compliance, enterprise architecture, knowledge management, network services, software development, and change management. He has a strong track record of building high-performing teams, modernizing IT capabilities, and enabling innovation through a disciplined adoption of technology and governance frameworks. Abdul is particularly focused on the practical implementation of artificial intelligence in municipal operations, examining how AI augments employee performance, reshapes workplace productivity, and demands a rethinking of management systems, KPI structures, and organizational design. His work sits at the intersection of ICT strategy, institutional governance, and service delivery, making him a credible and grounded voice on what digital transformation looks like from the inside of a municipality. And I'm going to stop my sharing. Abdul, I am handing over to you. Thank you for being on the platform today.
Okay, thank you for that introduction. Okay, I'm humbled, and I hope there wasn't AI that made that introduction, because that was pretty good. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdul Gabier. I'm going to be taking you through the Cape Winelands experience with implementing AI. If most of you are from municipalities, you know how difficult it is to change direction of the ship that we call a municipality. So this is mostly going to be a feedback, and then I'm going to lightly touch on the technology that we're using. Okay, let me start my share, my presentation. All right, just quickly the journey we're going to be on. I'm going to touch briefly on what is AI, then the AI promise of cyborgs and agents. I'm going to touch on some business risk, and I'm going to spend a lot of time explaining what we did as our level 1, which is our unguided, non-deterministic, which is your basic AI that you can use now like a co-pilot. And then I touch on what was our return on investment. I touch on ethics, because there's an element of social engineering that is taking place. And then I talk about what is level 2, where we start looking at agents and what have you. All right. Okay, so guys, what is AI to us? It's augmented human capacity. So AI is not a separate entity entering Cape Winelands. It is human beings who now have an AI assistant. So that's the direction we went. We went with natural language, which means we're not going to train you how to use the AI. We want you to engage the AI, and the AI must become part of you. There's various models available, and we've got a whole range that we're trying out. But that, in a nutshell, is what AI is to us. Okay, so for implementation, we basically just opened it up. We allow access to ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. There's a whole range in the Olama stack now that you can try out. We bought some Copilot licenses as well. And the idea was to create cyborgs. So we want to see, what does AI do for the individual? And then from there, what will it do for the municipality? Okay, so just again, so this picture is the idea, right? We're going to use what's already available. So the training data that comes with a Copilot or a ChatGPT. So the brand is not the point of the story, right? It's just the idea that we're starting with what's there already. We are aware of certain risks, like with language. One of the ones that we came up with was, I don't know if there's IT people attached here, but if I ask you what is a 1-hour firewall, if you're in IT, you start thinking about the technology of firewalls, but our fire department quickly said it's a firewall that can withstand flame for an hour. So it's very important to take, that is why I was wary to try and train people to use AI. I need you to engage the AI so it represents you. And then we obviously let the AI look at our SharePoint and our document management systems. And we have a range of databases and a data warehouse concept. So because it's a feedback session, this is the people who are giving us feedback.
Abdul, can you activate the sound on the presentation again? Sound is gone.
Just give me a second. I have to kind of remember where that was. Okay, I'm just sorry about this, guys. Let me just stop sharing for a second.
Hi, everybody. This is a technology problem we solved earlier, so it's going to be sorted out quickly.
Give a second. Okay. I've got to go to media. Actually struggling to find the little pop-up that allows it to make the sound. Just give me a second. Yeah, terribly sorry, guys. I'm struggling to find the thing that says let the video play.
Maybe Abdul, you can find it once you start sharing. You must first share it so that you can be able to share that sound. Maybe you need to share your presentation first.
Okay. So I must be here. Okay, sorry, it's right. Okay.
Reporting and compliance.
Can you guys hear now?
Yes, thanks.
Deputy Director, Budget Office.
Okay, I'm Angela, and I'm responsible for employee wellness. I'm Tambela.
Justin Corishas, Director, Reporting and Compliance. Stoffela Rangi, Deputy Director, Budget Office.
Okay, I'm Angela, and I'm responsible for employee wellness.
I'm Tambela Nama. I'm the Senior Internal Auditor in the Office of the MM.
Clayton Laters from supply chain as well.
Elizabeth Nichols, Senior Tourism Office in the Socio-Economic.
My name is Chesney. I'm the Network Technician here at Cape Winelands.
I'm Jade Vardy, Senior Accountant in Budget Office.
Rusty Hollenbach, Senior Manager for Training and Performance.
Nobila Likwegwe, Senior Accountant, Contract and Demand Management and Supply Chain.
I'm Ryan van Wyk, the Director for Socio-Economic Development at the Cape Winelands District Municipality.
Justin.
Okay, so those are the people involved in the interviews. So we gave 100% employees access to the tools. That includes all departments, right, from IT to SCM. And the adoption was actually quite rapid. So I'm accustomed to when I try and bring in a new technology, first answer is no. Then I don't have time. Then I have time, but I don't want to. Then this change is slowing me down. You know, the usual aversion to any type of IT implementation. That was not the case with AI. We had rapid uptake. AI embedded individual tasks very quickly. So the first time they tried it, a person tried it, they really liked it. And there was a bit of hand-holding for the very technophobic people, where I would sit with them maybe for 5 minutes, but that was it. And immediately they could start using the AI. For the demo, I would literally ask the AI something silly like about the time or the weather, and then I ask it to write me a motivation on why this person should use AI. And for those of you who've tried it out, it happens almost immediately. Uptake was very good. So what we observed almost immediately, right, is faster report generation. So people were throwing their content into AI, and it was helping them write reports. Administrative workload really came down. Improved document turnaround. The staff productivity, individuals kept saying staff productivity was up, but we weren't changing staff goals, right? So I'm going to touch on that a bit. But the culture shift was very quick, and I was actually quite impressed. It was ask AI first. So before you ask IT, they were asking AI. Before they were asking their manager, which I thought was very interesting, they would ask AI. So, and obviously the AI did not replace anyone. It was still you, and you started giving your work. The AI was your assistant in the background. Okay, so just very quickly, before AI, manual document review, report writing was always an issue, administrative tasks, and a heavy reliance on institutional memory. So those of you from municipalities know, if you need to know something, you have to know someone, because that's how you find out how things work. with AI implemented, and by the way, the implementation is basically just allowing AI. Policy retrieval, almost instant now. Automated summary, decision support, things that used to require an entire meeting to make a decision. We still have the meeting, but AI assists us to make it much quicker. And for analysis, the quality of reporting just went through the roof. You can take your project plan and say, write a report against it, and the AI will write you a beautiful report. Okay, so there's some more feedback.
The ultimate in terms of providing information.
Okay, I named my assistant Caroline.
Excellent.
So when I'm mostly using it for to improve my writing skills. So for me in the finance, I work predominantly in the finance space. Obviously, lots of legislation and stuff to go through. So the AI assistant is quite helpful in that it gives you easy access to legislation. It gives you quite a easy explanation of the legislation in layman's terms.
Yeah, it's just, it makes life easier and it shortens the task. So if maybe previously it will take you 2 days to finish a task, it actually gives you lesser period of finishing or completing the task.
For me, I'm a little bit skeptical of the AI. So, and for the work or documentation that we use for the bids, I don't feel safe to upload it on there.
I find it very useful.
All right. So the most common new capability was actually communication. So the quality of the communications went very high. And I don't just mean emails, I mean reports, analysis, motivations. For SCM, rules being followed actually went up. So SCM gives out templates of how you're supposed to give in your requests and how you're supposed to motivate and what have you. So that now gets loaded with the AI and the formats are adhered to. ICT governance policies, I can tell you nobody used to read these. And now people reference them, which is quite nice. HR is the same. So when people have a grievance, which I've sadly experienced, very well written now from people who don't speak English well. Disaster management plans and council resolutions. The quality of the language is much better now. There's a big reduction in complexity. So things have become much easier to do. Significant reduction in policy lookup time. Improved compliance. So our internal audit gave us some very interesting insight on the impact that they're having. And then faster onboarding of new staff. So we don't have high turnover at Cape Winelands, but we have a regular trickle of new staff coming in. We have a lot of retirees happening now. And to bring someone up to speed is much faster. So I suppose charity begins at home. So I'm the IT manager, so I've really pushed our people to use it. So classification of service requests. IT is generally poor documentation. I don't think we like it. And now that we have AI, our documentation is actually beautiful now. It picks up duplicates, departmental routing, the sense of urgency, things is happening much faster. My backlog of responses to issues, which has always been a very long thing, has become quite manageable now. There's a big impact, the compliance. Our SLAs were actually meeting. The big challenge for... Sorry? Okay, so from my side...
You can continue.
Okay. I was just going to say, from a compliance point of view, the challenge for the IT department was usually the documentation needed for compliance. And that's no longer a problem. Security is always an issue in IT, and we really pushed using AI for that. And the big one was actually for your log analysis. So I don't know if you've ever seen what this looks like, but it's a huge text document. The AI reads it much better than human beings will ever read it. And it very quickly finds out regardless of what the problem is, it seems to find it much faster, reduces alert fatigue. And I found people have more confidence in dealing with the issue. So there's a reduction in stress as well. All right.
I think the engagement with the managers is...
Sorry, let me just introduce this before it goes further.
I
So
think the,
I asked people different questions. One of them is, how does AI affect your job personally? And the next question was, how does it affect your relationship with management? Because now both sides has AI available. It was an interesting thing to find out.
engagement with the managers is maybe easier because they know they've got additional tools available. So,
and I think also it helps with consistency as well. So you have different minds. At least the AI will guide you in the consistency you're looking for.
No, I don't think they fully utilize that function yet.
On my side, I would think AI is mainly, I would think, based on willingness to learn and willingness to the internet.
The use of ChatGPT or Copilot has made things, I would say, easy on the other side, but difficult on internal audit side.
In the context of anything that you do must be your own work.
So just, I don't know if that was clear, but I found it reduced a bit of stress because I found employees had a bit more confidence. And from a management perspective, the quality of work went up. So you tended to be less threatening to your staff, I guess. So, so this is just a quick recap of how things went. So you have the enhanced human capability, human in the loop. So this was not autonomous agents. Augmented productivity. So it's you with more skills and more capability. The decision support was to the employee, right? So I'm the IT manager. I use AI to help me do my job. And knowledge amplification. Anybody who uses AI suddenly is a know-it-all and a wise ass because you seem to know everything about everything. There was definitely improved service delivery and the upskilling effect. So, IT is very skill-based, and now you can achieve new skills without going on long courses. Very, very positive. Okay, so when we started this project, the return on investment was what we've experienced so far, right? There's reduced risk exposure just by increasing competence, increased span of control, greater strategic capacity, instead of simple labor savings. Because what we did find, although you could do things quicker, you tend to use that time savings in the same tasks, and you gave in a better product, but you didn't give in two products. Okay, and then there's a social engineering element where how is this affecting how people interact with each other? So I thought I'll touch on that.
Definitely, it needs to change.
Yeah, especially in wellness, you need a warmer body when you in distress. You can't go to AI and say, I'm not feeling well. You know, it will be an answer for a while, but you also need a warmer body when you feel traumatized and stressed and stuff like that.
Definitely, you get answer and everybody's satisfied always with an answer, even though it maybe not the way, but at least you have proof now.
I also found that if you give AI instructions, and then it will give you exactly what you want. You don't have to, maybe that's not a good thing for personal development, but you don't have to think so much anymore.
A bit cautious. I am a bit one of those skeptics. I'm not comfortable with AI controlling me or being part of my life. Let me put it rather that way.
So we did experience some pushback with regards to how do we interact with each other now, since a lot of our relationships were based on manager versus someone is your manager or your colleague, and now your need to talk to people has really gone down. I didn't include all the clips where they were saying they don't speak to their manager as much and they don't speak to their colleagues as much, partly because you don't need to. And then some of the downsides were capability displacement. And part of it comes from a vendor lock-in. So we found people developed their favorite AI and then they didn't function well with a different AI. So they really, I don't know if it's an affection or an association or however you want to call it, but that started happening. Institutional intelligence, and this is something that I'm not going to give the details, but we had a situation where a person retired and then we didn't replace them because the AI helped us with our capacity. But we had AI turned off. We ran into a security issue. They couldn't do their job anymore. And that was something we didn't expect. There's obviously a data dependency risk. So strong data gets good outcomes, and poor data amplifies the negative part, right? There's definitely a skills erosion. So we have writing courses all the time. We have Excel courses, and we're finding people are not as excited to do it anymore because the AI does it. And then the last bit here, the governance and sovereignty risk, is who owns these models, where is the data processed, who controls decision logic. And this is something that you start, okay, you will notice it the more you use it, that say Copilot will favor a Microsoft product, for example. Well, that appears to me. And I'm imagining as the models required to make money, they will make deals like that will push what earns them money. So digital sovereignty becomes a problem. So I'm going to give the bad news now. So although we've been running this for a while, no KPI changes. So although we've got this awesome new capability and everyone speaks well of it, there's no new KPI, no new targets. So I spoke to executives, I didn't quite get them on camera, who are very happy with the impact AI has had on their teams, but they say they're not ready for new targets. So they're enjoying the capability of people doing the jobs well, but there's not extra jobs. Those in local government will know MMCL, our minimum competency. Okay, I had to do it before AI, but now the value of the MMCL is changing because a lot of what you're going to learn there, truth is you could pass those exams on the first day you arrive at the municipality with the help of the AI. And then the other thing, management skills. So what was consistent is the people I interviewed said the managers do not know how to take advantage of AI. And I don't mean AI as what the manager's tasks are, which would be mostly reporting, but how do you manage a person who has this new skills? And this is something that has not been, we don't know how to do it yet, put it in layman's terms. Okay, so now we look at what is phase 2. So I went back to senior management and I said, okay, can I have money again? And let's see if we can go into agents, which is the next level. So we know that our people use AI. We have cyborgs, they have increased capability. The question now becomes, how do we move to the next level where AI does work? And it's not only cyborgs doing work. And there's a range of opportunities in the space. There's the task automation, autonomous monitoring. So if people in IT know your firewall is monitoring all the time, your antivirus is monitoring all the time. But we want to take it a step further that after it finds a problem, it solves the problem. Event-driven responses. And I think everyone has a big imagination in this space, and there's a lot of opportunity. So we decided to look at two things because there's a compliance requirement, there's control of our data that is required. So we're looking at a hybrid model. So they gave me money for hardware. So I've got, I used Olama and I downloaded a bunch of AI models. If we have a technical discussion one day, I can take you through how we set it up. And then I can use the cloud models and I'm using local models, depending on what the task is. Okay, so once you want to go to the next level, there's a few things you must take into account. You require domain experts now to train the AI. So we have an agent workbench, you have to give it skills, you have to develop tools. Tools in this case is where the AI agent does business tasks. And part of it, why I say you need domain experts, you have to be able to evaluate what the AI agent did and then make improvements. The same way if you had a staff member, you gave them task, the manager then looks at it and then corrects not corrects the work, corrects the employee. So in this case, you have to correct the AI so that it does the job better. Data, your libraries, and this is a big problem in all municipalities, to have data at the right quality. There are knowledge gaps. As you have the AI do work, it runs into knowledge gaps, and it has to become someone's job to now update the data so that the knowledge gap is closed. And then the last one, I've got here rules. So keep in mind, prior to this, the AI is non-deterministic, which means you don't know what the AI is going to do, and you can't 100% predict how valuable the AI will be to a particular employee. So we need to move to deterministic, where I can guarantee you what the AI is going to say and what value you should be getting out of it, so that I can manage you better. Just another technical thing, a context bridge. So you have different documents and how they link. So on the one hand, you can let the AI determine this, but then you're back to non-deterministic. As soon as it's deterministic, you got to say the MFMA applies to these 4 documents, and the IT SOP is not affected by the things that affect procurement. Okay, so I'm going to start with a small demo. So we start with IT because charity begins at home. If a person says, I have a problem with my keyboard, and the general answer from any normal AI is general information about IT. But now we want to say I'm using my IT agent from Cape Winelands. So I'm just going to pause here. This time, when you said you have a problem with your keyboard, it uses the skill and it says, this must be resolved by IT. Please call 5252 or email IT support for help. Now, that is a useful answer. The previous answer, which is correct, and the AI can take you through a whole series of things on how to fix your own IT equipment. We all know you have no access to the equipment anyway, and you're not going to spend your own money to fix it. The useful answer is actually to call IT. So here's another example. Again, using the IT agent, but wait, sorry. Let me just, okay. So finance actually gave me people to assist me to develop the AI use cases. So the use case that was appropriate to the person who's helping me. So this is an invoice agent. You ask them to check the invoice. Now note now it has to be deterministic. You cannot trust something that is non-deterministic, even though it's right most of the time. Okay, so now it's checking it against our formats and what we expect to be in there. So this required a domain expert to give me a template that says this is what we look for. These are tick boxes. And so now I can have the AI do that job for them. So problems with going to level 2 is you realize there's new roles, and it's roles that wasn't necessarily filled in the past. So note, I didn't say people, I said roles. So step 1 was to become a cyborg, and step 2, cyborgs are going to have new roles now, because there's new time, and you have to use that time to ensure that the AI project grows. So suddenly you need a governance lead. The risk officer must now look at the AI as well. Data architects, almost no one has this position, so it has to be a role that gets added to someone's position. So the registry manager is going to become a data architect, and the structure is legislated anyway. It's just about implementation. Your solutions architect, I put in the prompt engineer because it keeps saying that on the internet when I look this up. But I'll be honest with you, a domain expert will be responsible for prompting the AI correctly the first time, but once they get it right, then that prompting will become part of the skill that the AI has. Yeah, so I just mentioned this is going to be part of the registry. I started looking at who would be doing this. The registry staff at the moment, they were focused on a paper-driven employment scenario, and that's going to have to be looked at. From a security perspective, it's a massive problem. First, if you don't have security on your AI, if your AI gets hacked, it starts giving people bad advice. So we've introduced a whole range of risks, and the bad actors now are much more sophisticated. You're going to have to move to a SOC and a SIEM. I don't know if those terms mean anything to you. If they don't, it's fine, but your security team is going to have to become much more effective. And then your change management. This is not something that can be done externally. Within each team, you're going to have change management, and it has to be left by the manager who understands that the AI now reports to them as well. Okay, so for part 2, we've procured hardware. We've got a whole bunch of Copilot licenses. Claude has become extremely popular, and there's a lot of requests now for Claude subscriptions. Where we are now, though, the roles are not in place. So as much as we can buy the technology and implement it from an IT side, without the roles, it's going nowhere. The capacity of experts is also a problem. So when we started this, I actually asked finance, can I get 20% of your time? I thought it would be a negotiation anyway. So I thought I'd settle with 10. They're down to, we'll get you when we get you. Then the next one, the risks have not been agreed to. So there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen. What are the new risks? And that can be a presentation on its own. And the security risk of agents, because in order for agents to act, I have to give it rights on the network. And then that brings with it a whole range of new issues. And guys, that is me. That is the AI journey that Cape Winelands is on at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdul. Can you leave your presentation on, please? I've got a couple of things that I would like to ask you before we open the floor for questions. What does your architecture environment looks like within which your AI agent run? It's clear that you're doing an internal presentation, but there is also an internal setup, but there is also a measure where the external or the public-facing tools are used, such as Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude. But what does your architecture look like internally?
Yeah, so we have, I'm itching to connect to my network now, so I'm not at the office. So we have, shall we say, 3 ways of entering the AI environment. So we have an AI server, so you can talk directly to the AI models that we have locally. So at the moment, your domain experts are playing with that to determine which model best suits their environment. So it's actually quite exciting. The second one is the one you're looking at right now. So if you want to use Cape Wineland and you want to use one of the skills, so you would log in. So you're going to use your Active Directory login. And now we track you. So we've got a database set up. It's a Postgres database at the moment, which so it has, when we load documents, we store it all in our Postgres database. All interactions is first stored, and then we send that message to an AI. It can be the local one. I can't actually show it to you. It will be a local request, or it can go to the outside, depending on which skill you're using. So we put that into the skill section to determine how it's going to ask you and how it's going to respond to a request, and then it comes back. Everything is now recorded, so it becomes auditable. And it needs to be auditable first for compliance, but also because how do we improve the responses that you're getting? So I've got a very simplified architecture doc on, if this is what you're asking, or do you want to see one where you can see how the data flows?
No, not the data flow. I wanted to see this, if you can just explain what runs where.
Okay, so so the on-prem, so the first block, I don't know if you can see my mouse moving. So this is what is installed at the moment. It's a Linux-based server. We use Docker. And then, yeah, so it's a Docker implementation. Dala is the name of the front end. So when you come in, if you type live into your browser, you're going to come to the Docker server. So you're going to come to the Dala server. And this is where the first level of security sits. From there, it goes to your digestive pipeline. So these are all different Docker servers and connectors that goes to the applications layer. The application layer is basically your DB and your vector DB. And both of it is Postgres at the moment. Then from here, it goes to the AI. So now we've got an AI server, so it can either be the cloud models, or the physical models which sit next to these.
Okay. Abdul, there was a comment made by Selma Kukamur. She said one should also monitor mental health issues over a period of time, as AI is not sensitive to human cues as other humans are. Can you give us your opinion on this? Have you had any exposure to a degradation in mental health issues within the Cape Winelands District?
So one of the places we did speak to was HR, and the lady on is responsible for wellness. And what she was saying was people are asking AI issues related to wellness, but a lot of it has to do with family trauma or changes in circumstance like pregnancies and what have you, which we used to ask only your friend, and then you maybe get referred and you'll speak to our wellness unit. And now people are speaking to the AI. So, and she was saying that you can see by when they finally come to the wellness center, they're so jacked up on the theory of wellness that you realize now, man, they've already been down this road and it didn't end where they had hoped. So the need for this is still there, and we are very aware that it's going to change. Maybe it didn't come through in the video because I had to chop so much of it away. It's actually a very long conversation. That the interactions with people is changing because the interdependency has changed. But even so, when you have a problem now that you would like to ask someone, but you don't want to make it public, which is generally how a lot of the wellness starts out, people are asking AI, and it's a massive risk. There's stuff on YouTube where things have ended badly, which I hope was an exaggeration. But yeah, we're very much aware. We actually just launched we're launching our wellness center, the virtual one, because we're expecting there to be a change in how people are dealing with each other.
Can you explain the virtual wellness center?
Oh, yeah, it's a SharePoint site. We're wanting to make it easy. So what we found, because people are willing to speak to the AI, then it made us think, well, it was them, say, why don't we make easier ways for them to speak to the wellness center? So you can speak to the wellness center as if it's an AI. So you feel more anonymous. Yeah, even though you're probably not. But we're going to allow you to connect, to talk to the wellness practitioners anonymously in a chat kind of environment. So that's the idea.
Last question from my side. Are you willing to allow people that are online to come and do a study tour with you?
I would actually like that. This is something, to be honest with you, the AI is part hobby, part job. And I'm actually looking for partners who'd like to experiment. So you're welcome to start where I've left off and then see where it takes you.
Okay. Right. Can I open the floor for questions and comments? You can raise your hand. Right. Do I see a hand? Robbie, you're welcome to unmute yourself.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, I'm Robbie Brunt. I'm from Pinnacle Enterprise. Good morning, David. Thank you so much for this really interesting session. Just a bit of an interesting use that we use for AI here. When the municipalities publish tenders, we have an AI agent that'll actually first scan the tender and see if our vendors or our capabilities align with that tender before we actually respond. So that's a huge time saver. So yeah, here at Pinnacle Enterprise, we use it quite a lot.
Share that with the guy writing the tender. It will be also very helpful.
Okay. Anybody else with a question? Then I'm going to ask my next question to Abdul. Abdul, how do you ensure that sensitive information is not shared? Did you take precautions on training staff or anything like that?
So we have it was part of our POPI training of where you can and can't share information. Supply chain is the one that they don't even want to hear people using AI in supply chain. And it's awkward because we use AI to give things to supply chain, but once it comes past their door, they only use the on-prem items. So we're well aware of the risk, and that's the mitigation at the moment. And I think as time goes, we'll have to come up with new ones, whatever new challenges comes out. But depending on where you sit, you can't actually put anything on the internet. And supply chain's the one that put a hard door to say, nope, not their staff, nothing, only internal.
Okay, brilliant. There's a question on the chat. What kind of training or skills are required from the ICT team and ICT management, or is it purely a self-study upskill?
Yeah. So learning new technology is fairly normal in IT anyway, right? So I think we do a base study when we start out, but self-study is the way to go, unfortunately, for AI, because everything's so new and the rate of change is so fast. So we're not creating AI, no? That would require some study. We're using AI and we're implementing it in different ways. So like Pinnacle, funny enough, I've had chats with them about how we would implement it and what the next step would be. So for me so the level 2 that I'm talking about will probably be a tender. It's not going to be something that we create ourselves. Although my staff's becoming more ambitious as it become better use with AI.
There's another question from Matthew Turner. With regards to the very beginning, did this start from an AI policy perspective, governing usage, or are you more focused on implementation and pilot state to guide the policy to follow?
So the issue of what the policy must be is tricky. So there's national, provincial, always in first draft about AI usage and what have you. In our case, we're saying AI is just a tool, and it doesn't have a status or a place. So for the phase 1, that is the case because that's why we said cyborgs. For phase 2, the policy becomes more important now because I'm going to hold you to deliverables now. So you do need to have policy in place, but it's very tricky. Like we've been debating it in circles. Like, for example, can I demand that my staff use the AI I said they must use? And then can I demand how much, like right now, I give you 3 days to do a task because I'm also from IT. I know how long it takes. And based on your skill level, it should take you 3 days. Now I'm giving you Copilot and I'm saying I want it in 1 day. Can you do that? You know, where would a policy, because our policies don't normally cover which tools you're using. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a difficult discussion. I think this is something David will probably lead us through as part of our next iterations.
Abdul, are you expecting any changes in staff key performance areas, tasks, extra tasks assigned? What's the impact on task ratings, job descriptions, stuff like that?
So it's actually in discussion at the moment. So I can tell you, senior manager told me a big fat no. They were actually very positive of what it can do, and they like the fact that their staff uses it. And then I was frank saying, well, if it's so good and it's been over a year, are you going to change any targets? Are you going to change KPIs? And they told me they're not ready for that. So at the moment, no. But that is the measure of success, right? So it's actually our counselor in charge of corporate services. She was saying that she's not interested in a KPI change at the moment. She wants to focus on a task and show that the task is quicker. And the task I'm referring to would be a process. So
it basically means that our measurement criteria might change and not the KPI.
Yeah. But like I'm saying, it's early days, right? So we're still seeing the impact.
Okay. Any other questions, or can we proceed to ending the session? Abdul, any last comments from your side?
Yeah, I'm hoping that you guys will join me on this journey. I think that this needs to be collaborative. There's so many angles to the AI generation that's coming up. I didn't show the video clips of the very junior people who, when you ask them, have you ever not had AI? And they're telling me no. The last time they didn't have AI, they were in high school. So it's a generation coming up that you need to know. You will never know if they're using AI or not, because the first time you met them, they were using AI.
Okay. So they're growing up with a tool in their hand.
Yeah.
See, there's a question from Solani. How did you navigate automated decisions in line with Section 71 of POPIA?
Yeah. So we don't automate the decisions. That's why they call it person-in-loop augmentation or something. It's got something like that. So at the moment, we don't allow the AI to make decisions. We do. Our goal for the step we're in now is to let it do tasks. When you say make a decision in Poppy, it's a bit out of context now because we're talking about a skill that is being applied, not a decision about a person. You know what I mean? I think that I can't tell you though, if you will be very honest, I do expect people to become more aggressive, and I'll tell you why. When I need to write a grievance against someone or I need to prosecute someone, it's emotionally draining because you're affecting someone's life, right? But if I tell Copilot, this person's a terrible worker, this is what they've been doing, they write the prosecution very quickly and quite thoroughly. And I think that if I had to do that myself, I would double check and rethink everything. Whereas the AI just does it. And the one downside is I'm expecting more and more people to let AI do their dirty work. But at the moment, there's no such a thing as AI, right? There's only a person. The most you get is a cyborg. So
it's a person with a tool in his hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Abdul, thank you very much for the presentation today. I see there are no further hands or comments. I'm going to end the event and thank you everybody that attended. You are welcome to contact Abdul, or if you don't have his contact details, mine is on the email, so you can ask me for Abdul's contact details. I'll share it with you.
Okay, thank you. I would just like to say, if you don't mind, I'm going to send you an invitation to join me on the next AI adventure. And then those who are interested can come along.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, guys.